Hello and welcome to ABP special guest Commander Abhilash Tomy, who completed second in the Golden Globe race last month. That's a 30,000-mile non-stop circumnavigation of the globe, and he did it solo. And let me tell you, he did it without GPS, without which we ourselves can't move in the city. Abhilash is the first Indian and the first Asian to achieve such a feat. Welcome to ABP Live, Abhilash, and thank you so much for talking to us.
Thank you so much, Nayanima. It's a pleasure to be here with you today.
Thank you. So, of course, I'm sure you must have been really, answering this question non-stop, but do understand that this is not a normal feat for, any one of us. This is very rare. And for an Indian to do so, it really is immensely a matter of pride for all of us. So to begin with, in 2018, there was a severe injury that you had. You almost got killed, but then you were rescued, and then you sort of, made yourself up. You got a titanium fixed in your spine, but then you went back to it again. Now, the question that comes in everyone's mind, why did you go back? And was it like in your nature that you need to finish an incomplete task, so to say? Or maybe you just wanted to show the world that, nothing can stop if you're like really determined. I mean, these are proverbs for us, but you actually lived it.
Well, I didn't want to prove anything to the world, but I think it's in my nature, and I think anybody else in my shoes would have done the same thing. I think it's not in human nature to accept defeat. And if you're really passionate about something, I think, anybody in my shoes would have, gone back to the sea.
Mm-hmm. But what was the experience like now that you completed it to circumnavigate the entire globe? I mean, it's easy to say that in as many words, but what is the, the experience that you had? Because, I'm sure you saw nature in such a way, which is completely different from what we see, right? In terms of some exotic species, maybe some continental lands. And then I'm sure there are dangers also lurking in water. Just help us understand what all did you see?
Well, there are two journeys that happen when you undertake something like this. One is the external journey where you see all these fantastic sights, like you're chased by whales. I was chased by pilot whales in the Bay of Biscay. Or you get dolphins, almost every other, you got dolphins swimming next to you. You got flying fish landing on the boat, squids that land on the boat and you need to scrape it off. You see some unbelievable topography like the Table Mountain or Lanzarote at Canary Islands, or Cape Horn, which is in and Tierra del Fuego. So yes, there are a lot of unbelievable sights that you see. I saw the moon rise right behind Table Mountain as I was leaving Cape Town Gate, and it was an unparalleled sight. So yes, there are a lot of these beautiful things. You see the madness of the sea when there is a storm. And you see those 10, sometimes 12, 15-meter high waves. They are rolling and breaking, and the wind chops the tops of these waves, and it's white everywhere. And in that madness, instead of feeling fear, you just feel some sense of joy and connect. And so that's the external voice that happens. But internally, you embark on a different journey where you experience an immense sense of freedom, which comes from the fact that, you don't have to answer to anybody's questions. You're not taking orders. You're not giving orders. You're not dependent on somebody else. And in the absence of people around you, you really don't have to live by their codes and their opinions and stuff like that. And then, it's the 10-meter boat affords much more freedom than being with people and, having the freedom to move around.
Mm-hmm. So tell me something, you were all alone. I'm sure the GGR was also keeping you abreast of the situations, but end of the day, you were alone circumnavigating the entire globe. And there was also at the back of your mind, the thing that end of the day, this is a race and, you have to sort of finish it. Or maybe was it in your this thing that, I have to come either the first or second? What were those thoughts going on when you were navigating all alone in this, kind of a difficult terrain, so to say?
Well, I enjoy the competitive aspect of sailing. I enjoy racing, but the position really doesn't matter because, personally, I enjoy, pitting your skills against that of somebody else, using tactics, using my experience to get ahead of the other guy. I enjoy that part of it. But most importantly, this race for me was about finishing it and getting out of the trauma of 2018 and proving to myself that, I was not a one-time wonder. I can do it once, I can do it twice, and many times if I want.
So also, tell us about, your boat, Bayanath. I mean, that's like, the boat is like the man of the match. I know you had difficulties. There were, the autopilot stopped working. How did you manage? Your only friend there was the boat. So what was it?
Well, Bayanath is a Rustler 36. That's a design, the name of the design of the boat. She was owned by a very famous English sailor who was the first owner. Bayanath has sailed to Alaska and New Mexico and a lot of places. And at that time, it was called Golly Wobbler 2. I believe the boat was built in 1988 or something. So it's quite an old boat. Yeah. And after that, she was picked up by a guy called Philippe Pesce. And he raced the boat in 2018 in the Golden Globe race. But because of issues with his self-steering in Tillai, he had to stop at Cape Town and he retired.
Okay.
So the boat also had an unfinished business. It was not able to finish the last race, And when I had the accident in 2018, I decided that, a Rustler 36 is a good boat to do the race in, and I wanted to buy one. And thankfully, my sponsors were kind enough to get me a Rustler 36. We put the boat through a very short refit. Usually, you need at least 2 years of preparation time for a race like this. But I had only 1.5 months to prepare the boat. Then I came back to sort out some visa issues, and then I headed back again. And I had about 18 days to sail and test the boat and do my qualification passage. So the preparation time was very short, which meant that the boat was not well tested. Things that were supposed to break were not tested enough. But the only choice I had was whether to do the race in 2022 or do it in 2026. And I'd rather do it now than wait for another 4 years to, attempt it. A race like this is very taxing, not only for you, but also for the boat. You go through some really, really difficult and remote parts of the earth. My wife says that the Southern Ocean has so many storms because God doesn't want humans to visit that place. In fact, one of my competitors had a 100-knot storm in which his boat was completely destroyed and it sank. Places like the 40s are known to be without rules, the 50 south is known to be without laws, 60 south is known to be without gods, and 70 degrees south, they say there is no common sense. That's how bad it gets. And in these conditions, the boat has to survive. And I think the boat did fantastically well, although it did have a lot of small issues. Like you said, the wind pilot, broke down, and then I had sails tearing and, halyards breaking, running backstays broke. We did have issues, but fundamentally, the boat was strong. It was quite well prepared, given the fact that we had just 1.5 months. And I think she did rather well, with the kind of sailing that I was doing, and she was able to get me back safely.
Wow. I mean, your boat also has a fascinating story, a backstory like you do. But tell me something, you retired from the Navy in 2021, but did you continue with the same kind of fitness, the physical fitness regime? Because that's what, everybody talks about these days, while we go on to some fancy diets and all those things. What is it that you continue doing? Did you carry on with your Navy training, or maybe you had to do more? Because apart from a strong will and determination, your body has to be also with you all the time, keeping up, with such a challenge.
Absolutely. So ever since my accident, instead of, physical fitness, like the way we think about it, I was more into therapy. And going through therapy taught me a lot about the human body and, how just going to the gym doesn't help. So I was doing various kinds of fitness regimes, including physiotherapy, Pilates, kickboxing, a little bit of, walking. I cannot run anymore. So a lot of walking, a lot of swimming and stuff like that. And that's what I did to keep myself fit. But at the same time, if you want to sail a boat, the best way to get fit for that boat is by sailing it. So you keep working on the boat, you're sailing it. All the muscles that need to develop automatically develops. You need, let's say, stronger shoulders and stronger core. It automatically, comes up. It's like I don't know how to put it, but it's like asking a farmer if he goes to the gym to stay fit.
I understand that. I understand. So, just to, from a common man's perspective, a lot of viewers will be watching this who are not, soldiers or don't have the spirit, but then, they do the daily struggle, right? So, the questions that comes is, while you were there for almost 237 days, what is it that you ate or you drank? How did you get water supply? What is it that you did?
All right, so this is a very interesting question. One of the requirements of the race is that you cannot pick anything on the way. So it has to be unassisted. The only thing that you can take from outside the boat is information. You can harvest the sea, which means you can go fishing, which is fine. But otherwise, even if you borrow a ballpoint pen, you're disqualified. Yeah, somebody comes and touches your boat, you're disqualified. It's as strict as that. So naturally, you have to carry food that will last not for 8 months, but probably 10, because you don't know when you're going to finish. You don't know how long it's going to take. And I had mainly 4 different kinds of food. I had tinned meat, various kinds of meat in tins, and I used to cook rice and have it with that meat. I had freeze-dry food, which is powdered, and all you need to do is add hot water, and you can just eat it after that. And then I had food from DFRL, which is pre-cooked meal. So this food, if I want to have, if I run out of gas, if I run out of water, I still don't have a problem, because all I have to do is just open the packet and eat it. It's completely cooked. It already has water and everything in it. And to supplement, I carried a lot of snacks with me, mostly peanut and cashew nut, a lot of popcorn, and yeah. So your energy requirement is almost 4,000 calories a day, and you have to keep eating to fuel yourself. As far as water goes, with modern technology, you can convert seawater to fresh water using an RO plant, but that is not permitted. Water bottles are not permitted. All you can do is carry water.
Not permitted.
No, so you can carry water in jerry cans. You can carry water in your tanks, and there's only so much you can carry. So I had about 270 liters of water when I started, for a race which lasted for 286 days for me. So I was starting off with less than 1 liter a day. And you supplement this with rainwater. Whenever it rains, you are standing with a bucket under the sail and catching this water, putting it in a jerry can, transferring it into your main tanks, and that's how you do the race.
Wow. So, I mean, the race also includes all this kind of chores also, so to say. But how is it during how was it during the night time? That's when I think, if I can use from my perspective, most scary, because that's when you don't see the sunlight is not there and you're in the middle of high seas. So how did you navigate during the night time after the sunset, or wherever you saw the sunset?
To be honest, I don't see a difference between day and night. You get so used to things, you can shut your eyes and go about what you have to do. So during day, when the sun is there, I get a position from the sun. It's a long list of calculations which goes on for 3 hours, and then I get one position. And at night, I go by the compass and what's called a log. So you know that you're going in this direction and you're doing this particular speed. So you can roughly keep estimating your position till the next day when the sun is up again and you get another position. But the nights can be really beautiful. I've seen the Milky Way spread from one horizon to the other horizon, a thick band of clouds, and it's really mesmerizing. I think I might have seen the Southern Lights, Aurora Australis. And I remember a point in the Atlantic where I saw at least, I don't know how many satellites I must have seen zipping across the night sky. There used to be certain birds that used to come and take rest in the boat by night. And one of them couldn't find a spot to sit, so it came and landed on my head. I remember that. This is close to the equator. Moonrises are beautiful. You can see the moonrise right at the horizon, and that's unbelievably crazy. So yeah, the night has its ups.
Wow, that is exhilarating. I mean, I can't even imagine about what you really saw from, with the naked eye. But what about some of the challenges? Because, when we talk about the sea, we talk about pirates, and there are other sort of several activities going on. Did you encounter, I mean, as a soldier, was it really in you to sort of say that, okay, even if I encounter a pirate, I know how to deal with it, with him or her or whatever? But what are those dangers that you actually face that we talk about when we, talk about the maritime domain?
Piracy is a real issue, and
Mm-hmm.
especially off the coast of West Africa, a lot of ships that pass by me warned that this is a dangerous area. But
Okay.
I don't think small boats are such high-value targets for them. And
Mm-hmm.
if at all I were to meet a pirate, I think it's difficult to fight back because you don't have any arms and ammunition, and they come really loaded. So the best strategy would be to preserve yourself somehow, and then negotiate a way out. In fact, I remember close to the coast of Brazil, there was this fishing boat that kept coming very close to me, and it
Oh.
stopped me from tacking and heading north. And I was a bit scared. I didn't know what their intentions were, but he kept talking in Portuguese, and eventually it turned out to be quite harmless. I think they were just coming to say hello, or they were curious and they wanted to know if I could give them anything or something like that. But no real pirates, no real pirates.
Well, I'm sure that must be really a dangerous time. But during situations like this, can you approach the GGR? Let's say if they would have attacked you or done some harm, could you have contacted GGR and say that, I'm in this kind of a problematic situation? What if they would have captivated you or something like that?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. So if you see a threat like this, one of the things that you do is you inform the MRCC, which is a Rescue Coordination Center, through. You can either call them on satellite phone, or you can call them. You can intimate them with your EPA, which is the emergency radio beacon.
Mhm.
At the same time, like I said, if you feel there is a threat, inform the Golden Globe race so that they can inform other competitors also that this area is a bit dicey. So
Okay.
yes, this is like one part of the thing I would do before an actual attack begins.
Right, right, right. So my
Yeah.
final question to you will be: what's next for you now that you've done that? And as your wife Urmi says that you've now seen it all. Can we see a book in the offing, or maybe you'll be going for another race? What's next for you?
I have a lot of plans, but I think I really miss my family. I missed spending time with my kid,
Yeah.
seeing my parents. A lot of things have happened when I was away. My son started going to school. He is now 1 year older, and he talks a mile a minute. So these are the things that I want to catch up on right now. Of course, focus a little bit on my health and get things in order. Book, yes, definitely. There's a book that's coming out. I don't know when, but there will be a book, and I've written 3 already.
Yes.
And yes, there's a lot of racing, a lot of adventure still in store.
Mhm. Well, thank you so much. That has been, one of my best interactions I ever did. This is one area that, I know nothing about. So we really wanted to hear it from you. I'm sure our viewers have also enjoyed. So that was Commander Abhilash Tomy, who has circumnavigated the globe. And that is really, he did that for 237 days. He was there sailing it. And he's the first Indian and Asian to achieve this feat. Thank you so much for talking to ABP Live. You please take care.
Thank you so much, Nayanima. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Joining me in this interaction is Abhilash's better half, Urmimala, and she describes herself as the wind beneath, which really is required for a brilliant seller like him. So, welcome to ABP Live, Urmi, and tell us what has been your experience like when he first said that he'll do this race. Then in 2018, the injury happened, and then he said again that I'll be doing it. How exactly did he say that to you, and what were your thoughts?
When he came back from the accident, I knew I had two jobs to take care of. Firstly, to get him back on his feet physically, but there was also the mental trauma issue that I had to cater to.
Very true.
But there's only so much that you can do,
Mhm.
and I realized that mentally for him to come back, to heal himself, he had already decided that he wants to do this again and close that chapter the right way. I realized that, and I didn't want to put a spoke in the wheel.
So, my last question to you will be, and I know it's a very busy time for you. How is it that you see? I'm sure why it's easy to support him. Maybe not easy, but how is it that you convinced your family and yourself that you'll be managing the back end, the family, the home, everything very easy? That okay, I've been this supporting. The better half, but then how is it that you face some of the challenges which I'm sure you also did, like we all do, while he was selling out there in the high seas?
So Abhilash prepared us well for this. This has been, on his mind for a while now, and I sort of warmed up to it in good time. But he made sure that we were very comfortable and everything was catered to. My bills were paid in advance, everything was sorted, and I didn't really have to struggle. The struggle was his. We were comfortable under a roof. We had all our comforts, offered to us easily on a platter. And the only thing, of course, was the mental, you know, uh, strain that this journey has been. I was lucky to have the support of my friends and family, people I could talk to, reach out to, people who visited me and took charge of the children. So I was lucky like that. We have a wonderful group of friends and family who reached out at every moment and checked in on us. So I was not sailing solo. I was
So if
part of
he
a
says
huge
that he'll go,
community, and I'm very grateful for that.
sure. So if he says he'll go back in 2026, what is it that you're going to tell him?
I don't think that there is anything to find in that journey now. He's closed that chapter. If he wants to do something that he feels that would enrich him somehow further, I would not say no.
Well, that's brilliant, and thank you so much, Urmi. Thank you for talking to
Thank
ABP Live.
you.
It's been a pleasure.
Likewise, Nayanima. Very nice talking to you.